Thank you, sir, for giving NUPA this opportunity to share U-DISE, Unified District Information System for Education with this 8th mission, RMSA mission. Sir, in 94-95, when the country launched district primary education program, it was realized that the information system is not in a position to take care the planning, monitoring and implementation need of then district primary education program. So Government of India in 94-95 decided to develop a computerized educational management information system with the school as the unit of data collection and district as the unit of data dissemination. Responsibility to develop such a system was assigned to NIPA, National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration, which has now become National University of Educational Planning and Administration. And NUPA joined hands with the UNICEF. UNICEF is supporting this project since inception in 94-95 and MHRD. We designed and developed a data capture format at the national level, but our prime objective at that time was to cater or collect the information only for the primary level of education. So the form which we have designed in 94-95 was implemented in the same year. We could able to reach 7 states, 18 DPP states, and in about 65,000 schools which were having primary classes 1 to 5. So that was the starting point of the district primary education program. When the program was coming to end, or the SSA was launched in the year 2000-2001, we could able to reach 18 states and 272 districts. And more than 1 million schools imparting primary level of education were covered up till 2000-2001. And in view of the achievements of DISE then, the Government of India in the year 2001, at the time of launching Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan program, taken two important decisions. One was to expand the coverage of DISE from primary level of education to the entire elementary level of education. And the other important decision which was taken was let us expand the coverage of DISE from DPEP states and districts to the entire country. That was the decision taken in the year 2000-2001. But sir, we have taken 5 years to achieve this target. So in the year 2005-06 was become the first year when we reached the entire country first time. In view, by then we could have established MIS units both at the state and district levels, and now in more than 5,000 blocks we have the functional MIS units with computer professionals and the data entry operator. By 2001 we have achieved a lot, and one of the most important achievement of the U-DISE was it has completely eradicated time lag in availability of statistics from earlier 7 to 8 years at the national level to less than a year at the national level. And it is now only a few months at the district and the state level where the data is available in disaggregated form right from school. Our every bit of information which we collect is available in the public domain at the school level, cluster level, block level, district level, and also at the state level. Now there are no more data gaps. Whatever the information is required for efficient formulation of the district elementary under SSA and secondary education under the RMSA is now readily available at all the disaggregated levels. On 1 year data, we used to bring out about 13 publications. Most of these publications are web enabled and they are available at dice.in, schoolreportcards.in and udice.in. Schoolreportcards.in, a recipient of 4 national awards, is now having 11 years data. One can see the progress of a particular school if that was covered in the DISE, its progress over a period of 11 years starting from the year 2005-06 to the 2015-16. 2015-16 is the latest year for which the U-DISE data is available. I hope that the provisional flash statistics, secondary level of education, or the figures are shared with you. In view of all these important achievements in the year 2007-08, the government of India again decided to extend the coverage of DISE from elementary level of education to the secondary level of education. And the responsibility to develop such a system was also assigned to NUPA. And NUPA designed and developed an online system by assuming that the data entry will take place from the schools. So we design and develop and implement a system in the year 2007-8, which continue up to the year 2010-11. In this process, what has happened in U-DISE, we have, or a DISE, we have a provision to provide a 11-digit unique identification code to each school. But the system which we have designed and developed, we can say that it was not unique in the sense that a school having 1 to 12 classes, for 1 to 8 we had one data capture format. From 9, 10, 11, 12 another data capture format. For 1 to 8 it was offline system. For 9, 10, 11, 12 it was online system. The respondent of 1 to 8 was headmaster. Respondent of 9 to 12 was principal of the secondary or higher secondary school. There was one nodal officer for the SSA, one nodal officer for RMSA. Data entry was taking place in the office of the SSA for elementary, and data entry of RMSA was taking place in the office of the RMSA. At the most, we designed the online system by assuming that the data entry will take place from the school, because the secondary schools are said to have a good computer facilities and internet facilities, but in none of the states the data entry took place from the school. And the basic purpose of developing the online system was forfeited. But somehow this system continued up to the year 2010-11. Successfully, we have collected data from all secondary and higher secondary schools from the year 2007-8. We thought that there is a lot of duplicity of the efforts. So we, at our own, in the year 2010-11, designed and developed a format to collect information from through a single data capture format. That was successfully piloted in the year 2010-11 in Pondicherry, and in the following year 11-12, the West Bengal also, we piloted West Bengal along with the Pondicherry. In between, the government of India constituted a committee to suggest modalities as how to develop a single statistical system for the entire school level of education. That committee, headed by Professor R. Govinda, the former Vice Chancellor of NUPA, also recommended unification of the SEMIS and DISE. Since then, 2012-13 was the first year we are collecting data through the single data capture format, and DISE since 2012-13 is now known as the Unified District Information System for Education. Just for your information, in the year 2015-16, we could able to reach none less than 15,22,347 schools. We could able to receive data none less than 6,300 blocks, about 83,000 blocks, 597,000 villages. And the size of the system, you must be knowing that we are also maintaining a comprehensive profile of more than 8.7 million teachers. And the size is that at the primary level, we have about 129 million children, students. And at the upper primary level, 67 million children are there. Altogether, 1 to 8, about 197 million children are there. In about 9, 10, 11, and 12, we have about 62 million children. Altogether, 1 to 12 classes, we have 261 million children in about 680 districts across these 6,300 blocks, which are in about 83,000 clusters. This is the size of the system, sir. Based on this set of data, we used to bring out a number of publications, which I already said. In addition to this, the data is also available in the public domain. Everyone from any corner of the world can download our data. About 8,000 users, registered users are there. Many of these registered users are exclusively working on the U-DISE data, and they are a few of them are the serious users also. This is about the achievement, sir. Everything is not fine in the U-DISE. Absolutely, there is no, we admit it that everything is not fine. There is still scope of further improvement. We know areas of concern. We are improving. We have improved a lot, but still areas of concern are there. Improving quality of data is a very slow process, continuing process. We are working very hard to further improve the quality, coverage, sharing, dissemination, utilization of our data. Both under the SSA and RMSA, the elementary education plans are exclusively based on the data produced through the Unified District Information System for Education. There are many areas of concern. I would share only few areas of concern. Despite all our achievements, the enrollment data is not free from the errors. There is instances of duplicate enrollment, fake enrollment, over-reporting of enrollment, but it is not that everywhere this is like that. Over a period of time, we have improved a lot. Absolutely, our data is of much better quality than it was 4 years, 5 years back. We have improved a lot. A few states, sir, they have initiated child-wise data collection. For instance, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab, Odisha, and a few others. And in most of these states, there is a steep decline in enrollment when the child-wise data collection was started. Sir? In Madhya Pradesh alone, in Madhya Pradesh alone, there was a decline of about 1.4 million enrollment in the year 2013-14. In the next year, 14-15, there was a difference of about 1.1 million if we compare the DISE with the DISE. So, in Andhra Pradesh, which has joined the latest to initiate the student-wise data collection, there is decline of about 2.5 lakh enrollment. So wherever there is some efforts have been made to collect the child-wise data, the enrollment has come down. Maybe it is because of the duplicate enrollment or over-reporting of enrollment of that. In view of these limitations, the Government of India has now decided to collect student-wise data collection in sync with Unified District Information System for Education from the year 2016-17. We know the challenges. It is not a simple task. The number is huge. 26 crore students are there in 1 to 12 classes. 680 districts are there. And despite collection of 1.5 million schools, still we do not know how many schools are still to be covered under the unified DISE, as we do not have the ready-made school directory across the country. And this impression is emerged out of the responses which we used to receive on the toll-free number. Recently, the National Scholarship Portal and a number of other government initiatives, they are using the U-DISE code. And we used to come out that, yes, there are many schools which are yet to be covered. Parents and the students want to enroll on the National Scholarship Portal, but unfortunately, they do not have the 11-digit unique identification code, and they want to take the unique identification code. So we are aware that some schools are still to be covered, but so far as the government and aided schools are concerned, we can say that the coverage is also almost uniform. But still there are some schools, including the Kendriya Vidyalaya, Navodaya Vidyalaya, Tibetan schools, military school, project schools, a few of them are still to be covered. And more than 378,000 private aided and unaided schools have also been covered under the unified DISE, of which 78% alone are the private unaided schools. Without making much efforts, we could able to reach 28,000 private unrecognized schools and madrasas. So this year, 2016-17 is very challenging so far as the U-DISE is concerned. We know that the task is very huge, and we are trying our level best to motivate states to launch or initiate student-wise data collection. In this process, sir, this year, with the help of UNICEF, we are now in the process of conducting regional workshops, 5 of which have already been conducted. More than 550 districts have already been covered, and fortunately, only 2 to 3 districts missed the workshop. Otherwise, all the districts and all the states, they have covered under the technical workshop on student-wise data collection in sync with unified DISE. We are quite confident that we will able to collect data student-wise, and once the student-wise data is collected, the over-reporting, fake enrollment, and the duplicate enrollment, if they are there, could able to check them, and for this particular purpose we are ready with all sort of modalities. We know that the schools are not having computers. Only 27% schools of 1.5 million schools are having computers. Only 58% schools are having electricity. Those who are having the electricity do not have the computer. Those who have the computers do not have the electricity. And those who have the computer and electricity may not be having the internet. And if the internet is available, it is not of the good quality. And even if the internet is of the good quality, there are teachers. No teachers are available who can use the applications which are available, which is developed. So we are ready with all sorts of applications, online application, offline application, bulk uploading through the Excel sheets, independent utility, independent of our U-DISE software or Oracle or like that one. So we have provided all modes of data entry, and as a pilot we have taken it in the Chandigarh UT. This morning, student records of more than 2 lakh 30,000 students have already been punched into the online software, which the NUPA has provided to them. This work is also going on right now in the Daman and Diu, and in the many states the data capture formats have been printed. They have reached to the school. Data is now been filled in by the school headmasters and principals, and a few places the data entry has also started. Despite all these achievements, still it is not sure that we would able to cover all the 36 states in the first year, but everyone is making an attempt to ensure that the data, student-wise data, is collected, and all the U-DISE enrollment tables, such as the enrollment by category, by medium of instruction, by age, CWS and children, incentives at the primary and upper primary level, vocational streams, enrollment by vocational streams, and enrollment by trade and sector is generated through the student-wise data collected. Lastly, I would also like to inform you, sir, that 10 to 12 states they have made attempt in the past to collect child-wise data. It is our responsibility that states will not able to repunch the data which is already available. We will try our level best to sync the data into the U-DISE online application. No need to. But the problem here is that we have 35 variables in the student-wise data capture format, and in all the states, none of these states are having information on all the 35 variables. Some are having 5 variables, 6 variables, 8 variables, or 10 variables. So the additional information on these variables which are not there, the states are in the process of collecting this one. Now my colleague Mr. Naveen will show you briefly what we have provided and what are the different modes of application so as to facilitate student-wise data collection. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Although Professor Mehta has already covered most of the points, but just to go through the presentation briefly, we can discuss what are the parameters which we are covering in student data collection in sync with U-DISE. We are covering basic parameters. We are not covering the information related with their families or family income. Although some of the states they had already collected this information, but as Professor Mehta said that like Haryana, they had collected these kind of information. They are having 2 pages of data capture format for each student. But they have not collected basic information which is required for generation of enrollment aggregates. Like they have not collected information about whether the student is a repeater or not. And incentives detail, they had not collected it, but they had collected the father's annual income, father's designation. So we had skipped all those things, and we had generated a data capture format with discussion with all the states and all the stakeholders, and we are capturing only general information like student's name, gender, date of birth, social category, religion, information related with the facilities or incentives what they are getting, whether the child is CWSN or not. We had only added some information related with health like iron tablet and folic acid tablet they are receiving or not, deworming tablet. So these kind of basic information we are capturing from them, and additionally we are capturing the examination information so that we can generate the outcome related indicators in the U-DISE. So by collecting all these information, we will be able to generate all the information, all the enrollment aggregates or all the enrollment related information like enrollment by social category, enrollment by age, enrollment by gender, enrollment by CWSN, enrollment by trade and sector, enrollment by stream, any kind of information related with the student that can be generated, which also means that we will be able, presently we in U-DISE we are able to generate only those tables of enrollment which are available in U-DISE in the aggregated form. But collecting the student-wise data will give us a facility to generate cross-sectional information. Even the enrollment information, like we will be able to generate enrollment by age of CWSN who are BPL and in social category or a particular religion. So all these cross-sectional information will be generated once the database is ready. And this database will become initiative, like suppose national achievement survey for each and every student for each and every class is to be conducted. So collect the data, because only one method will not be able to collect the data. Depending on the constraints of our geographical situation, like somewhere internet will be available in the school, but somewhere internet is not available. Somewhere computer is available, somewhere computer is not available. So keeping in view all these constraints, we have created 4 different modules. We had created an online module where internet is required and the school can directly punch the data from the school level if the internet and computer and the teacher, the person who is feeding the data, if that is available. Otherwise, we had created an independent utility. Independent utility means like if we are using a smartphone and if we want to use any application, we just go to Play Store or iStore and download an application and enter the data. Similarly, we had created a desktop application where that application can be installed on the computer and without any database, they can store the data. A small file will be generated. That file can be synced with the internet later on, using any dongle or any internet connectivity. So that in that case, in that scenario, internet is not required for entering the data. For entering the data, they can enter the data in offline mode. But whenever the internet is available, they can just sync the data to the server. So these are the 2 modes. Third mode, we had developed another Excel template, like when we file our income tax return also, there also we can file income tax return online also. Otherwise, we can download a Excel utility. There is a Excel utility on the income tax website. We can download that, we can fill the data, then there is a validate button in the Excel template. So we had also created that Excel template. You can validate the data, and once the data is validated, then you can upload the Excel file. So these kind of utilities we had created, and these utilities are already in place. In Chandigarh, all the schools are having internet, all the schools are having computer, and they are entering the data. And Professor Mehta has already told that 230,000 students across the 201 schools, they are already entered. Similarly, in Sikkim and other states, they are using the independent utility. They downloaded the desktop utility at their computer and they are entering the data. In Chhattisgarh, in Jharkhand, they are using the Excel templates also. And in most of the private schools, they are already maintaining the student-wise data. So if they are maintaining the data in Excel, they can just copy the data from their Excel template to our template, and they can validate the data. If the data is validated, they can upload the data. So our motto is that if the data is already entered, if the data is already available, they should not re-enter the data, so that data can be reused. Mobile application is presently not ready, and we are not interested in giving the mobile application for data entry.
In the first year?
In the first year, we are not giving the mobile application for data entry, but definitely we will be giving the mobile application for data verification. Because entering a data of 35 variables for each and every student on mobile, it is not an easy task. Everything is in-house, so we are developing in-house, and as per the state's requirement, and whenever there is a need of change in the module, we update the module and it is available to everybody. Cross-sectional reports can be generated, cross-sectional information can be generated, and once this database is ready, this will be linked with many other schemes like midday meal schemes, NAS schemes, or National Scholarship Portal. So this database will become a repository for that. And for the implementation of states, we had already told them that the data collection can be started now, and they don't have to print the data capture format if the data is already available. If the data is available in their system in any format, like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Gujarat, they are having the database. So what we are doing is we are integrating their database directly into our server. They don't need to re-enter the data, or they don't need to change the format also. Like we are generating the 18-digit code at national level. But if Haryana, for example, if they are having the 9-digit unique student code, we will not change that code. That 9-digit code will come as a part of our unique ID. And in the national database, we will maintain it as 9-digit only, so that the student ID which is given to the student remains the same. It does not change. So we are creating this kind of system, and we are creating web applications, web services, so that if a state want to maintain their own database on their own server, so they will update the data on their server, and whenever there is update on their server, that updation becomes automatically on our server also through a web service. So this kind of system we are creating, and this is already created and it is in place. And now if we are interested, then I can show you the live data also and live application which is in place.
Quickly.
Internet hai ya?
Quickly.
Yeah, 5 minutes. I will show you. And these variables which we had finalized at national level, now the format is given to the states also, and they are converted in their regional language also, so that if they want to distribute the format in their regional language that can be printed, and they are printing and they are distributed also.
In the first year, we have kept only those variables through which we would able to generate all U-DISE tables.
Only basic.
That is our focus.
But in the software, we are giving the provision that if the state wants that they want to connect information other, including these 35 variables, if they want to add 30, 35 or 50 or 100 more variables, in the software we are given the provision for that. I will zoom. And for the first column is Aadhaar number, and we are validating the Aadhaar here itself. Wherever the data is entered online, if the Aadhaar number is given, we are validating that Aadhaar number in 2 ways. One is demographic authentication. If the Aadhaar number itself is correct, it will show on the screen whether the Aadhaar number is correct. Then after entering the complete detail of that student, like student name, mother's name, father's name, date of birth and gender, then we have used the API using the NIC system, and it will be validated from the UIDI national database, whether this Aadhaar number is assigned to this particular student name who is having this gender and this date of birth. So that validation is also there.
We are in the process of acquiring the API.
So incidentally, supposing you put the Aadhaar card number, so the serial number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Never,
can it be generated automatically
No,
then?
it will not be.
Why is it to be then fed again?
Sir,
There might be some spelling mistake,
Sir,
there might be some...
I will come to this. For this only we went to UIDI National Database Center in the Connaught Place, their head office, and we discussed with them that we want this kind of information, that when we enter the Aadhaar ID, because we had also heard from like you that whenever you enter Aadhaar ID, you will get the data and you can feed into your database. They directly replied, no, we don't provide this kind of validation. They only give true or false.
Because there are privacy issues.
True and false only.
They only give.
They
Sir,
don't share the whole database.
They only give true or false. You pass the parameters and they will say whether this information is correct or not, whether this information is there in the database or not. So they only provide this. So that facility we are taking. So these are the basic variables. After this we are taking the some parameters.
The US said that once you put the social security number, you get more information. That's not right.
Sir, that information can be displayed, but for that we need eKYC. That is, we have to validate it through biometric system. But for that, for every
Like in
cell,
Reliance Jio, they are using it.
It's like a PDF format, you can't convert it into...
no,
Individual
PDF
can
can be
see.
converted. That is not the issue.
And
But
actually, individual can see through
Yeah.
a mobile OTP, as we also must
His
have
own
seen.
record.
But you can't
Can't
give the entire
copy it
data.
and, paste
Give
it.
the entire
And
data.
for that also, there is a method in UIDI also, but for that you have to validate your Aadhaar number through biometric. If you provide that biometric, then that information can be displayed. Otherwise,
Individual's information.
individual information.
Individual.
Not in bulk. We cannot say that if you want 1 lakh students Aadhaar to be validated and information to be
One by one.
Yeah. So some information related with their incentives and free textbooks and then all these things. Then examination details. Then stream for secondary and for higher secondary, trade and sector for education, vocational education. Some information about the deworming tablet, iron, folic acid. Then we had also captured student bank account number and IFSC code for DBT purpose, so that this database can be used for DBT purpose. mobile number and Aadhaar. So this is the data capture format.
Who's filling at the school level? Who's data capture?
Madam, we had provided this, we had instructed to fill this information by the school teacher. If there are 1 to 12 classes and there are 10 sections or 2 sections in each and every class, so one person can't fill this information. So what we had recommended that provide this data capture format to each and every class teacher, so that they have to fill the information for 40, 45 or 50 students in their class, and that can be forwarded to the headmaster. And if the computer and internet is there in the school, then directly from there they can enter the data onto the system.
And then the headmaster would be required to approve the data.
And in the online system,
थोड़ा
that can be repeat test है. 17th point is
वो तो
repeat.
रिपीटर्स है सब है
17
सारा U-DISE का सारा डेटा है.
16th is current class and 17th is class dated previous year. If presently I am in class 5 and last year also I was in class 5, though, so I will be a repeater.
Data capture format का वो format
हाँ,
है slide.
printed नहीं है.
वो सॉफ्ट कॉपी दे देते हैं, राजीव को दे देते हैं. राजीव,
We have printed
please download from the dice.in, top
we
पे
have designed this data
DCF,
capture
student
format on
DCF.
A3 size. So double of the A4 size, A3 size we have printed, so that the information comes correctly on the data. First, because this is the first time when we are collecting the data. Next time this data capture format will not be same. Only the information of class 1 students or new entrants that will be entered. Otherwise all the students data will be migrated to next.
सर इस काम को करने के लिए सभी स्टेट्स को 1 रुपये पर चाइल्ड दिया गया है. SSA में मिल गया है, मतलब है, और RMSA में भी ये प्रोविजन कर दिया गया है. लेकिन फिर भी स्टेट ये जानना चाहते हैं कि इतना कम पैसा 1 रुपया क्यों दिया गया है. हम उनको समझाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं.